Hi, this is part two of lecture for week one, and we're going to quickly review 5 chapters from DuPuy and Gitlin. So, chapter 5 is about identifying a topic. So you want to think about what are you interested in, but how is it related to occupational therapy? Some of you actually are working occupational therapists, and so you probably have a clinical itch that you're interested in. For the rest of you, you just have what brought you to this program or what you've learned through this program. So you should have an idea of something that interests you. It might be a little bit broader than what some of the people who've already been OTs have. You might want to think about social concerns like Medicare or the Affordable Care Act or childhood obesity, things like that. And then you want to see what's already been published. So it's good to look at the recent research journals. Besides AJOT, there's also the OT Journal of Research and Rehabilitation. So that's a good journal as well. There's the occupational science journals. So, take a look at look at some of these journals, what's been published in the last year. Does any of it sound interesting? Maybe there's a theory you know something about that needs more research. Maybe you're really interested in sensory integration as a theory, and you might want to look at that, something like that. The big thing is, so what? Does this topic relate to OT? Will it impact OT practice? And as I said, do you care about the topic? If you're going to spend a lot of time with the topic, it's good if you care about it. So conducting a literature search can take some time and practice. You can look for very specific information. You could have a reference list that you're specifically trying to find things about. Or you could have a subject search where you have a lot more looking, like I'm interested in morning routines, so I may start looking at lots of different things, different aspects related to morning routines. You can just go to the journal and search. You can go to EKU Library. Well, this is a little exercise for you to do, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but go to the EKU Library website, click on Journal, click on Assistive Technology, choose the first Assistive Technology journal, and then search for this article published in 2014, and then go back and search for this article published in 2016. This just give you an idea of how to negotiate the process a little bit. And then you can request items through Library Express. Google Scholar can be a good useful tool. The nice thing about Google Scholar is you can put a whole article in, you can put a whole sentence in, and it'll pull up a whole bunch of stuff for you. In the library databases, it's better to put fewer words instead of more words. In Google Scholar, you can put as many words as you want. Now, you might find something on Google Scholar and then try to find it through the university, and it might not be available because the university might not have direct access to it, or sometimes it's embargoed for like when it's a thesis or a dissertation. So if the article's not immediately available to you through the library, do not buy the article. Create an ILLiad account if you don't already have one, and request it through Library Express. You will be able to get it almost anything through Library Express, and usually within about 24 hours. You want to check your organizations. So AOTA has accessibility to the American Journal of OT, the Canadian Journal of OT, and the British Journal of OT, which is really a nice plus for your membership. And NBCOT has ProQuest, which can also search articles for you. So a database is a collection of different journals, and as I may have just mentioned, that the EKU Library website, you want to click on Databases, click on Academic Search Complete, and under Search Options, choose Peer-Reviewed Journals. And then, like I said, you can you want to try lots of different keywords, but not too many at one time. Here's a couple links to tutorials. If you're struggling, these are some really good tutorials on how to do searches. You can hand search articles, which means that you can look for specific references in another article that sounds good. You can look at articles that cite the article, which is good. You can look at articles that are systematic reviews. You can look at textbooks for ideas of articles to look for, and you can actually go to the library and look at journals. They actually are still hard copies of journals. You can go pull out that hard copy and look through the index list. You can also go online and find a journal and look through the index list of their most recent publications. And then again, go back to Library Express to order articles that you can't just get yourself. Boy, if you really can't, really stuck, go to the library and ask the reference librarians to help you. They are the best. They're great. They love to help. That's their job. You can try using different words and search terms. And just the main thing is don't give up. You know, this is a skill that you need to develop through practice. So why do we need to be critically appraising the evidence? Well, we have you stick to peer-reviewed journals, but not all peer-reviewed articles are great. Even though they should be well-reviewed before being published, still can't guarantee it. Plus, a great article from 5 years ago may not be a great article now, because our knowledge is always changing and building. And as OTs, we're increasingly having to justify that we're being evidence-based, that what we're doing is effective and that there's research to show it's effective. So there's a lot of descriptive literature, which is really just that. It's a description. It's not literature that predicts or looks at treatment. So when you're looking at an article, you want to think about if the data was collected appropriately, if it was analyzed appropriately, and does it apply to your area of practice. Table 6.3 has an extensive table on how to assess a research article, and here's also some links on AOTA's evidence project. This is a table that's a hierarchy of evidence for practice for qualitative research. And it's going to, actually, I'm sorry, I'm saying qualitative, but this looks like quantitative, so they might have had the wrong word here. Okay. When theory development. So when you are using experimental type theory, you tend to go from, when you're doing quantitative experimental research, you tend to go from a theory down to a specific concept. When you're doing qualitative research, you tend to go from a concept and move towards a theory. So usually naturalistic qualitative research is about theory development, and experimental quantitative research is about theory proof. So in terms of experimental or quantitative research, you can have descriptive research, which is a lot of the research that's out there. You can have level 2, which explores the relationships between phenomena. So that doesn't mean something caused something else. It just means they're related. Level 3 actually looks at cause and effect. Does something actually make something else happen? In quantitative research, you have a hypothesis. So it's a statement of what you think is the relationship. And then you're going to test and see whether or not the hypothesis is correct. And generally, we state things as a null hypothesis. So the hypothesis generally stated is to say that there is no relationship, and your research is trying to prove that there is a relationship. In natural or qualitative research, usually we have sort of a broad area, a broad problem area, or a specific particular phenomenon that's being pursued. So the query is a broad statement about what it is you're interested in, and the content and the structure of the query will depend on the kind of design that you've selected. And we'll talk some more about designs of both quantitative and qualitative in later lectures. So in experimental type designs, there are 5 core issues that you need to be looking for when you're examining research that's been presented. The first is there bias? Whether it's can be unintended and or unavailable, but it's there. How did the manipulation occur? So what was the process of maneuvering the independent variable so that the effect of its presence or absence on the dependent variable can be observed? Control, so was the action processes that direct or manipulate the factors to achieve the outcome? Is it valid? How much does it answer the research question? And is it reliable? How stable is the research design? So validity is more about, is this really what I'm asking? And reliability is more about, did I do a good job asking it? In the naturalistic qualitative research, this varies in purpose depending on the kind of descriptive design that you're doing and how you're moving from observed phenomena to full-fledged theories. They often describe, understand, and interpret daily life experiences and meanings, and so you can see why that might be important to OT. They do generation of theory. They can be transferable. They can be flexible. And they can be emic, which means it's from the researcher's point of view, or it can be emic, which means it's like me, it's what I think about it, or it can be etic, which means I'm looking at them. What do they think?